update on the 2022 Night of Champions race at Lawrenceburg Speedway, and I'll touch on the Hornet Nationals since I haven't made an update video on that yet. The Hornet Nationals was a few weeks ago, and it's the bigger compact race at Lawrenceburg. The payout's higher, it's 20 laps instead of the usual 12 laps, and you have to have raced there at least twice before they'll even let you enter. I won that race last year. That's my first and only win, and I went into it this year pretty hyped up. Ended up finishing second in my heat. Alex finished sixth, and he had a really stacked heat. And I ended up leading a few laps of the feature after Landon's car broke down, and ended up finishing second place by an absolute miracle. And I say by an absolute miracle because by the end of that race, my car was just not having turn four. Since it's a longer race, it's a little harder on the cars, and mechanically speaking, the rest of my car can handle that kind of race, but my suspension setup put a lot of load on the right front tire the longer that race went on, and that tire was chunking off and glazing over. I was losing traction, and I could sail into turns 1 and 2 just as fast as I always could. I could go into turn 3 just as hard as I normally could, but between 3 and the exit of 4, my car was hot garbage, and it's pretty evident in the outside view of the race. That's where the field would stack up behind me over and over and over again, and that caused me to get beat down pretty good. I got blasted in the left rear quarter, which it's been hit about 50 times already, but Kelly touched up the paint on it too, so it doesn't look as bad. And then just railed in the trunk and caved in the floor pan. That's been smashed a couple times before too, but that was a really good hit. And still managed to pull the second place off, just barely. Last night was the Night of Champions, and we went into that race with Alex second in points and me third in points by 5 points. So I barely had it. So I was going to race the hell out of this car. Ended up winning my heat. Didn't think I was going to win my heat. Ended up winning it. Got into the redraw and pulled a 2. That's my favorite starting position. Ended up leading half of the feature, and then got into it with some lap traffic in turn 2 that may as well have been stopped in the middle of the track. I had no idea they were going that slow, and got under them, and they went sideways and clipped this door. And in the process, it popped the right rear tire, and that ended my night because we didn't have a pit crew last night, because I could have still driven this car. But this hit managed to cave the B pillar in pretty far. It didn't feel like that bad of a hit, but it just carved its way through this door. That's a dangerous piece of metal on the front of someone's race car. This is exactly why we put door plates on the driver's sides of our cars, because that's factory sheet metal, won't stop anything. Unfortunately, since I ended up in the infield, that bumped me all the way down to 5th in points, which it's still an improvement from the year before, but I was really hoping for that 3rd place. There's a chance I would have gotten a 2nd place had I won that feature, but there's always next year. This is probably the last full season on this car. I'm going to build myself a new car this winter, So this one will get sheet metaled and then it'll get shoved in the back to be the backup car, since Alex's old car, which was our backup car, is going to get cut up and thrown into one of the chassis that we have outside. But could have been a better 22 for me. I still can't complain. Had a lot of great races. Sorry, I can't say a lot of great races because we didn't have a lot of races. But very excited for the team. Alex is in second place in points, and that is very respectable. We'll see what next year has for us. I'll have another couple of videos coming out highlighting some of the damage on Alex's car, not race related, and then I'll probably start documenting the teardown and rebuild of Alex's old car. So stick with us.